All right, class. First off, as always, good day. I'm glad you're here. So today we are going to be looking at the rise of Hitler. Basically, how did this little tiny guy with greasy hair, the little tiny mustache, how did he take over a whole country? So we're gonna look at his path basically from when he was a kid to up until he became the Führer of Germany. Okay. Now I am going to tell you this. This lesson is pretty long, so please bear with me, okay? Also, there's a lot of stuff I edited out, and there's a lot of parts we're going to be skipping because the thing is, I want us to get right into World War II. And of all the leaders and dictators that come out of this era, this time, you know, Stalin, Mussolini, you got people like Churchill in England, you got um, FDR, stuff like that. Of all those people, I think the Hitler is the one that you really should know because again, of all these people, all the other people, they got to power a certain way, but it's how did this little guy get to be this powerful, and how did he brainwash, in a sense, the German people? So we're going to look at that today. Okay. So the objective, we're going to analyze the early life of Hitler and his ambition. You're going to find out that he didn't want to be in government at all. You're going to find out what he wanted to actually do with his life. We're going to examine the rise of Hitler after World War One, okay, because he did participate in World War One, and you're going to see how he basically rose to power. Then we're going to create an argument on whether the Nazi Party would have been powerful if Hitler wasn't there. Would they been have as noticeable in history if he never was around? So we'll look at that. But first, it's your warm-up picture. Now, the first question asks you to analyze this picture and basically tell me what's going on here. All right, so look at the sides, look at the front, look at the background, look all around. Judging for what you're seeing, what's going on? Okay. The second question asks you, do you think that these soldiers are going to war, like they're marching towards battle? Do you think that they're coming from battle, like they came from a war, or like not war, but like a battle, and they're coming home to like a hero's welcome? Or do you think they're just having a parade, just showing off their military might type of thing? Okay. So, again, analyze the picture again and answer the second part. Again, do you think these soldiers are going to war? They came from a war, like a battle? Excuse me. Or do you think they're just like doing a parade to show off how they march and how many people, soldiers they got, and stuff like that? Okay. So pause the video, answer those questions, but we're moving on in three, two, one. All right, so here's the thing. Adolf Hitler was born on April 20th, 1889, in this little town near the Austrian-German border. Okay, now here's the thing. Hitler's dad was a custom office official. He worked for the government. Now Hitler, at a young age, was like, I don't want to do that. Typically a lot of sons followed in the footsteps of their dad. The father was a barber, the son's going to be a barber. The dad was a carpenter, he did stuff with wood, things like that. The son's going to follow. Hitler was like, I don't want to be like that. In fact, Hitler really struggled with school. He basically got to like the middle school, high school times, and that was it for him. He dropped out. Okay. Now, his dad died in 1903 uh, when he was about 14 years old. Now, the thing is, the dad had this disease where basically, your body is 85% water, and the body's water went into his lungs and basically drowned him, with its own fluid. You know. So with his dad now dead, Hitler was like, well, you know what? What do I want to do with my life? you know what? I want to be an artist. I want to be a painter. So he applies for the Vienna Academy of Fine Arts, which is like one of the best schools at that time for artists to go to. They reject him. They're like, yeah, you show promise, but you're not good enough. Excuse me. Now, his mom, Clara, she died in 1908. She died like 5 years later after the dad died. She died of breast cancer. So now he really has, you know, no parental guidance. So he says, you know what? I'm going to Vienna. So he goes to the place where the academy school is at, and he's trying to get noticed. So he's selling his paintings, of like landscapes and things like that, famous buildings. He's selling them on the side of the road, um, and trying to basically make kind of a living, you know. And this is where Hitler starts to get his ideas about politics and how does the world fit? How does it work? Why are things bad in our world and our country and things like that? And this is the beginning of the Nazi ideology. It starts at this point. Okay. Oh, and this picture of Hitler right there, that's him when he was like, I believe he was like 8 years old, 9 years old, something like that. So even then, if you look right there, it's like, dang, kid looks kind of. Mm. So here's a couple paintings. Let me move my video thing over here to the side. Hitler that he made. These are a couple that have survived through the times, and I paint, and I don't paint this well. This is actually pretty good, you know, especially the colors, the blending and all the stuff. Especially that dome, the green part, did a pretty good job. But again, the school was like, okay, you're pretty good, but you're not the best. You're not that good that we would accept you. Imagine how the world would have been different if they did accept him. So, 1913, Hitler moves to Munich. Now, it's around this time that World War One is about to start. And once it did, he basically tells the Bavarian king, look, I know I'm not a citizen here, but I would like to fight for you guys. And the Bavarian king is like, okay, sure. We'll put you in the reserve infantry regiment. So in October 1914, he goes off to war. He serves the entire war. Okay, he wins two decorations for bravery, so he gets two awards for it. One of these awards is called the Iron Cross First Class. And if you look at this picture that on his little lapel right there, that little cross, that's it. He wore that basically almost every single day. That was like his thing. And just about every picture you see with him, he has that thing on him. Okay. Now, he was wounded twice in World War One. Once he was shot in the leg, and the other one was at the Second Battle of Ypres. Now, remember I told you guys, I believe a couple weeks ago, at the Second Battle of Ypres, when we were talking about the weaponry and stuff like that, they used mustard gas. Now, the mustard gas was launched, and the thing is, Hitler was actually temporarily blinded by the mustard gas. So he knows what it feels like to experience what the mustard gas can do. And it basically scared the hell out of him, you know, because again, just this gas, and all of a sudden you're like, you can't see. It's just gas that goes through, that's passing by, and it temporarily blinded him. He did get his sight back, but for a while he could not see. Now, Hitler, like a lot of Germans, especially the German soldiers, they believed that they didn't lose the war, that the politicians, these so-called patriotic Germans, um, basically surrendered to the Allies. They're like Hitler and his other soldiers. They're like, we can keep fighting. We will fight to the end. Don't give up. Don't give up. And the politicians are like, yeah, we kind of have to give up, or else they're going to just crush us and, wipe us off the face of the earth. So they surrendered. But Hitler and a lot of other German soldiers felt like they could have kept going on. All right, so here's your first question. Hitler and the Nazis didn't use mustard gas or any chemical weapons in World War II. That's a fact. They didn't use any of that kind of stuff. So, do you think that Hitler's own experience with the mustard gas played a role in that decision? Do you think that he was like, no, we're not going to use this because I went through that crap and it was bad? Do you think he did that, or do you think there was another reason why the Nazis didn't use chemical weapons? You know, what do you think? What do you believe? Okay, so pause the video, answer the questions, but we're moving on in three, two, one. So, in late 1918, Hitler returns to Munich and he joins a small group called the German Working Party. Now, their goal is to unite the interests of the working class German people and to create a strong German nationalistic belief. Nationalism is basically when you believe that your country, are the greatest. Nobody else comes close to you guys. You're the best. You're the best doctors, the best teachers, the best army, the best. You're the best country in the world. Even though it may not be true, you still believe it to your heart and soul. That's really nationalism. Now, it's at this point when Hitler's giving speeches about the German Working Party. This is where he starts to learn how to speak well. One of the biggest fears people have is speaking in public. A lot of people can't do it. Hitler's really starting to figure it out. He's starting to learn how to, talk with the chest out and beat his chest when he feels something and to use his hands and to show emotion and just give it his all. Um, this gets people to gravitate to him like, oh my God, what's he screaming about? What's he hollering about? You know, and they would go see him, go see what this guy is hollering about. And again, Hitler could draw a crowd, and it was that charismatic energy that he had that drew people to him. That whole, and this pain we are all suffering, and he really knew how to work the crowd. You know, with his speeches and people coming to see him and so that, he started to rank up in the party. People are like, hey man, he's know what he's doing. He's good. So by 1920, um, he leaves the army and takes over the Working Party's propaganda effort. So he's in charge of trying to spread the word about the German Working Party. The thing is, Hitler decides to rename the group the National Socialist German Working Party, aka Nazis. Okay, now we're starting to see it. Okay, now Hitler knew we need a symbol. We need something um, that that uh, that will gravitate, that works. He took an ancient symbol called the Hakenkreuz, which means the hooked cross, which you see in this picture over here. He uses that as the Nazis' emblem. Now, the thing is, a lot of people who don't know better, who don't know history, they see this like Buddhist statue and be like, "What is that? What's a swastika doing on there? What are the Nazis doing?" No, 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 no. This symbol is so much more older than the Nazis. It's like, if I remember right, it's like a good luck charm. It's supposed to bring like good fortune and things like that. But Hitler, when he made the Nazis, and he's like, we need a symbol, he takes that symbol, and now because of the Nazis, that symbol is corrupted. It's now seen as hatred. It's seen as racism. It's seen as white supremacy. So a lot of negative connotation thoughts are put to that symbol because Hitler adopted it. And now the world sees that as a negative thing when originally it was supposed to be a good thing. Okay. Now, Hitler knows, hey, these fellow German soldiers, these guys are upset about the war. These guys would be good for our group. So he starts recruiting these officers, right? One of the most influential guys, his name was Ernest Röhm. Ernest Röhm knew, hey, I know some people. These guys are, they're upset about the that we were forced to quit. They will do whatever. And so he recruits them as the squad called the, I'm going to kill this word, Sturm Tellung. Tellung is basically the Storm Division, which becomes known as the SA, which would later become known as the SS, the Nazi secret police. Okay. What their job was at this time, at the very beginning, was basically protect Hitler, protect the top people, right? At meetings and things like that. And let's say there was another political group going on, they're saying bad stuff about the Nazis. These guys would go in and start busting the place up, busting people in the jaws and things like that. So they were enforcers, bullies. So here is your next question. Why do you think it's important for a group or an organization to have a symbol? So think of stuff like McDonald's. They have the golden arches, right? You got Starbucks, that little mermaid person and all that stuff, right? You got like Apple with the little apple with the piece bitten off. You know, you got like Twitter, the little bird. You got a lot of companies and organizations that use a symbol to represent them. Why do you think it's important for them to have that? What are some possible reasons why a group would want to attach their name to a symbol? Okay, so think about it. Sit down and really think about it, and put your response down you know, in the Google Classroom. Okay, but pause the video while you're writing because we're moving on in 3, 2, 1. Okay, so November 8th, 1923, members of the SA, remember the enforcement group, they make their way into this beer hall in which there's another group there having a political meeting. And the thing is, this group kind of views the same ways, have the same views as Hitler's group. So Hitler comes in with holding a gun, like all thug life and stuff like that, and he basically tells the group, hey, you guys and us, we basically have the same idea. We're a little different here and there, but that's okay. We both have this main idea of how our country should be. We should join forces and start a revolution. And this revolution will spark throughout the country. We'll be the heroes who started it all. So these guys, of course, they're like, yeah, yeah, that sounds good, yeah. So Hitler and both groups start marching towards the center of Munich to start their revolution. However, the Munich police are waiting for them. Now, there they are. Imagine this. Here's Hitler's group, here's the police. Now, somebody shoots a gun. Don't know which side, but someone shoots a gun, and right after that, they start shooting. Bah, 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 start shooting each other. Hitler, remember, gun all blazing, holding the gun in that meeting. He's gone. As soon as things start, bullets start flying, he's gone. Okay. Now, the thing is, some of these rebel leaders are captured, and there's a couple of the police who are like, yeah, I know who that guy is. Yeah, that was Hitler. Yeah, I know where we can find him. So they arrest Hitler, okay, and basically news comes out that this group tried to start a revolution, things like that, and their leader was Adolf Hitler. Remember, Hitler left, but his name is now in the newspapers nationwide. So people who feel like how he felt, that this German government is not doing stuff for them, things are horrible with them, we need a change. Now they're looking at Hitler like, yeah, this guy, maybe he has the right idea. To his own people, he's a hero. Man, this guy was leading us. They had a shootout. The cops, arrested him. He sacrificed himself for us. No, he didn't. He was gone when the firing started happening. But yet he's taken this opportunity to basically, like, yeah, I was with you guys the whole time. I was there, and yeah, I'm a hero. So Hitler goes to trial. He's charged with treason. He's supposed to get 5 years in jail, but he only serves 9 months. Okay. Now, while he's in jail, he starts thinking about writing a book, and he starts it. It's called Mein Kampf, which means my struggle. And the thing is, this book talks about how great nationalism is, how important it is to have it, how the world is, in a sense, bad because these Jewish people are doing things to ruin our economy, ruin everyday life. I mean, he's basically saying, like, the economy is going bad. Blame the Jewish people. You stubbed your toe this morning. Blame the Jewish people. I mean, he's just basically blaming them for all kinds of stuff that they really have no issue. They didn't do any of this stuff. But he's like, look, it makes sense. Do your research, people. Type of thing. Um, and again, this all started when he first came to Vienna. When he was trying to be an artist, and all these ideas about he had for politics and stuff like that. Now he's putting it in the book, and he basically lays out his plan for Germany and how they would be like the center of the world, type of thing. And it's just it's just a crazy book. It really is. Now the thing is, when he gets out, he finishes the book and it gets published in 1925. Now at first the book did okay. Okay, it wasn't like a number one bestseller or anything like that. But when he became Führer, the leader, man, those books started selling like crazy. There's only one book that while he was the leader, there's only one book that sold more than his, and that was the Bible. Okay. So here's the thing. Hitler was obsessed with race and ethnicity, looking for the pure race. And he swore that the Aryan race was the purest and the strongest. So that blonde hair, blue eyed, chiseled chin, German people were the purest, the best in the world. Everyone else is basically crap. You, the German people, the blonde hair, blue eye, you guys are perfect. Okay. And in his book, he talked about like how the Germans, the pure race, should have enough living space. They shouldn't have to fight over, territory. It should be you earned this because you're the greatest. You deserve this, not these Slavic, Austrian, Czechoslovakian, Russian people. No, no, not them. They're beneath you. You are above them. They should bow to you. You should have that land because you are the best. You are pure. You're the best humans around. You're better than everyone else. That's what he's putting in their head. Okay. So for the most of the mid 1920s, he's laying low, but he reorganizes and reshapes the Nazi Party by creating this thing called the Hitler Youth. So now they're taking in kids and kind of prepping them to be SS soldiers. You know, now the SS soldiers, they wore black uniform. And the thing is, they basically swore an oath every day, like if it was a Pledge of Allegiance. Um, Heinrich Himmler basically helped make the SS grow from something like 200 people to several thousand. Okay, they would be the dominant force in Germany. They were the secret police. They were the group that, I mean, the most ruthless of all the groups. They would arrest their own people, type of thing. Um, and again, they would terrorize all of Europe during World War II. Now, this is the oath. Let me move my little um, camera thing there. This is the oath they would say every day. I swear by God this holy oath that I want to ever loyally and sincerely serve my people and fatherland and be prepared as a brave and obedient soldier to risk my life for this oath at any time. There are three phrases in there that should really catch your eye or ear if you were listening. I want there. Really. When they're kids, they're saying this. And by the time they get to an adult, it's just embedded in their head. I want to ever. Really, you want to. It doesn't sound like they want to first. They're just kids. They probably want to play. They probably want to have fun. But here it's like, no, you want to be a loyal and sincerely serve the people. Okay. The other big part, it says to be a brave and obedient soldier. So obedient means you do what you're told without question. And as some of you guys know, what happens in World War II, especially with the Jewish people, they're basically teaching them since they're young to follow orders, don't think. Don't think if this is right or wrong, just do it. That's your duty. That's what you're supposed to do. So it's, again, the wording is crucial. The last part, the last phrase is very crucial. To risk my life for this oath at any time. Really, to sacrifice your life just because they tell you to do something, anytime they want you to do it. That should ring like red flags in front of your face if ever someone told you to say this oath to me, those words, those phrases should like pop out at you and be like, yeah, red flag. Yeah, no, no. Something's wrong in this whole thing. But again, these guys, since they're kids, they're saying this day after day after day until it becomes like clockwork for them. And they truly start to believe this. Okay. All right, so you have two questions here. The first one says, why do you think Hitler is trying to convince the German people that they are pure people? That they're the best in the world and everyone else is crap. Why do you think he's doing this? Think about that. Why would he truly try to convince these people that they are the perfect people? Blonde hair, blue eye, chiseled chin, all that stuff. You guys are perfect above everyone else. Why? The second question asks you, what are your thoughts on the SS Oath of Loyalty? And why do you think Hitler and Himmler made sure the soldiers said and repeated this oath day after day? So if you can't remember it, go back a minute or two, right, and read that oath and tell me, what are your thoughts on it? What do you believe? What do you think? What's your take on it? Okay, so pause the video. Be sure you answer the questions, both of them. Okay, but we're moving on in 3, 2, 1. Okay, so 1932, Hitler runs for the president of Germany against this war hero named Paul von Hindenburg. Now, he loses, but Hitler gets 36.8% of the votes. That's quite a bit. That's nothing to sneeze at. It's a good chunk of Germany. Okay. So what happens is, because the world is going through this depression, this Great Depression, there's a lot of things going wrong. The money, the German dollar is basically worthless. People are out of jobs. People are starving. People are, just, it's just total chaos. The president has three chancellors, and they all fail to maintain order. Chaos and riots are happening, and they can't control the German people. So in January 1933, Hindenburg basically goes to Hitler and says, "Hey, look at, okay, I know we went against each other to be presidents. You lost. I get that. I know you're probably bitter, but Germany really needs your help. Will you be the chancellor and bring order to Germany?" Hitler's like, "No problem. I got you." Now, Hitler does this because he has his own agenda. And on January 30th, 1933, as the Chancellor of Germany, basically the voice of Germany, he says, "This is the beginning of the Third Reich." Okay, the Third Empire. They had, the first empire was the Holy Roman Empire. The second one was the German Empire, when they basically joined up with Prussia and stuff like that. And he says, "This is the Third Empire, and this is going to last for a millennium, which is 1,000 years." So it's like Germany will last as an empire for 1,000 years. As Chancellor, Hitler grabs power whenever he can, mainly because these political people are arguing, fighting against each other. So he's like, "I'm getting more power for myself. This, these other political groups are just, chasing their tails. They're just like, what do we do? What do we do? What do we do?" So he's just absorbing power for himself. Now, in February 1933, a fire breaks out in the Parliament building where Hitler's working at and stuff like that. Hitler survives this fire, and he's like, "Oh, these political people, they try to kill me because they hate me. They hate what I represent," and stuff like that. And he's telling the press, he's telling people, his supporters, "I was almost killed by these other people." You know, we now know that other political groups didn't do that. There is strong evidence to point that the Nazis themselves lit the fire. They're the ones who set fires to the Parliament building, and Hitler was basically making himself sound like the victim. Like, "Oh, I survived this fire, and these people try to kill me." Okay, trying to gain sympathy, trying to show that he's a tough guy, and, "Oh, you can't kill me," type of thing. So, March 23rd, 1933, the Enabled Act is passed, giving Hitler full power. And what he does is he basically combines the old German government with the National Socialists, which is again the Nazis, and combines them. Now Germany is pure Nazis. And in July of that same year, they basically passed a law saying that the Nazi Party is the only political party you can join. If you try to join another one, you are a traitor against our country, and you will be thrown in prison, you will be ostracized, and things like that. If you're in another group, if you're like in a trade group, stuff like that, and you're not Nazi, guess what? Your group doesn't exist anymore. So, yeah. Now, France and Poland basically went to Hitler and was like, "Hey, okay, what you're doing, okay, fine. But the thing is, remember, under the Treaty of Versailles after World War One, Germany cannot have an army." And Hitler's like, "Oh yeah, oh I completely agree. No army for us, because the thing is, we signed that treaty. You are right. Yes, we started the war. We take full responsibility. Yet we will not have an army. We want to keep peace." He's telling that to France and Poland. But in the background, he's building an army. He's been doing it with the SS, with the Hitler Youth and all that. He's been planning this for some time. You see how everything's starting to come to fruition? Things are starting to come. He's been planning this for so long, guys. So, the next year, 1934, Germany leaves the League of Nations. And when they leave, Hitler basically says, yeah, we built an army. And before Britain, England, Russia, before anyone could say, like, hey, what do you mean you're building an army? He already has tanks, planes, soldiers up the wazoo. They're already set. So it's like, where did all these tanks and army, where did all these people come from? Again, he's been doing it in the background while telling the whole world, yeah, we don't have an army. We'll never have an army. June 29th, 1934. This is known as the Night of Long Knives. Hundreds of troublesome party members, Nazis, and former SA officers who basically Hitler felt they might go against him. They might try to backstab him, or he never really truly trusted them. Hundreds and hundreds of people are simultaneously killed, which means at the same time they were killed. Because again, Hitler is now truly taken over. Okay. About little over a month later, Hindenburg, the president of Germany, dies. Okay. Now the military leaders decide, you know what? Instead of getting a new president, we should just combine the presidency and the chancellorship, put them together into one person, and that person is Adolf Hitler. This makes Hitler the ultimate ruler, or as they say in German, Führer. And that's how this little tiny guy with a weird mustache took over Germany. All right, so here's your next question. Why do you think that Hitler was able to easily move up to the leader of Germany? You saw his path, how things just happened. Do you think he planned that as well? To move up, to rank up so fast? Do you think it was luck? It just so happened this thing happened, this thing happened, this thing happened, that Hitler was able to um, become the leader. Do you think it was planned? Do you think it was fate? Do you think it was luck? What do you think? Okay, let me know in the Google Classroom. Okay, so pause the video, answer the question, and we're moving on in 3, 2, 1. So now we come to the exit ticket question. Remember, just pick one of these questions. The first one says, what do you think was the most effective way he got the German people to love him? Do you think it was him doing stuff for them? His speaking, his public speeches? Do you think it was him constantly telling people like, hey, you are the best, you're the greatest? Um, do you think it was when he was leader and he started doing things for them? What do you think it was? What do you think it was? The next question says, how long do you think it would take people to believe that they are the superior people if they basically heard it every day from political leaders, scientists, and other intellects, so people who are smart, educated? Okay, so think of like the city of Fresno, okay? If you had politicians and scientists and other really smart people basically say, oh, everybody in Fresno, in the city of Fresno, you guys are the smartest, you guys are the best, you guys are superior than everyone else, not only in California, but the world. You guys are the greatest. How long, and even they would be like, oh, we have data to prove that you guys are superior. How long do you think it would take before everyone in Fresno was like, yeah, we are better, we are superior, we shouldn't have to listen to the people in Sacramento or the people in Clovis or Selma, you know what? We should expand because we are better. We deserve all this land and we deserve more than what we have. You know, how long do you think it would take for people to for that to get into their mind that they are better, superior than anyone and everyone else? Do you think it would take days, weeks, months for them to truly, truly in their heart and soul and in their minds to believe that they are superior than everyone else? Not they were superior to themselves, but like, hey, we're Fresno. We are better than everyone else. They're united, but they think they're better than everyone else. It's not like you think you're smarter than your classmate. No, both you guys are from Fresno, so you both are like, yes, we are smarter. We are better. Okay, so it's not competition amongst the group. It's a competition, or it's not even a competition. It's like we are better than everyone else. This town, everyone in this town is better than the other towns. How long do you think it would take? The third question asks you, would the Nazi Party have been as powerful if Hitler wasn't in charge? So let's say Hitler became that famous painter. Let's say he became an artist. He never went to Munich. He never went to Germany. Didn't fight in the war. He didn't join the German Working Socialist Party. Do you think the Nazi group, the German Socialist group, do you think they would have been as powerful if it wasn't for him? What do you think? Okay. And why do you believe that? So, once you answer one of these three questions, that's it for you. Now, like I did tell you, this one's long, but there's a lot of stuff in there. Okay. So, hopefully, you listen to it all the way through. Excuse me, that you learned something new. And again, next week, we're going to jump right into World War One when the fighting truly begins. Okay, so be prepared for that. Okay, so you guys take care, be safe, and I'll see you guys later. All right.